One of the best pieces of advice I ever got in business was about 3 or 4 years ago. I had just started creating content and somebody mentioned to me, they said, "Hey, your videos kind of suck." And I was like, "What?" And what happened was I had been posting for, probably like a year at that point. And I set up my iPhone and I think one of my cameras that I had at the time, or like the webcam or something. And I made these videos, which I thought they looked good, obviously. We all think what we do when we're creating it looks great, right? But I was pushing podcasting, right? I was pushing video, I was pushing audio, and I was trying to, really relay the, really speak openly about podcasting and just figure out how I'm going to get clients from it. Because this is early on, probably a couple thousand a month at this point is what we were doing. It was fluctuating. There was no system. But the thing was, I posted this video that I had done, which was a much more highly produced video than I had really ever done before. And that's why I was proud of it. But I got comments that were positive signals. People were asking me like, "Hey, how'd you shoot this video with multiple angles?" And this was a few years ago when, it wasn't as common to have this like multi-angle, incredibly amazing podcast production, whereas now it's much more common. But I was just proud of this video, right? I got, who knows, probably got 20 or 30 likes. I could try to find it for you guys so you can see it or at least listen to it. But I was happy with this video, right? And there was a gentleman who was older than me, and I had connected with him and just told him how much I appreciated his content, and I had kind of looked up to him, right? And there's a full circle moment in this story, but I'm speaking to him or in the DMs, and he mentions to me, he sends me a video. He was like, "Hey man, I really appreciate you supporting my content. Do you want to get connected? Maybe we can talk." And I was like, "All right, yeah, like let's do it." Like hoping to get some free advice, because when I started this business, all I did was call people, message people, email people, cold DM people that did what I wanted to do, or at least what I thought I wanted to do, right? And that's one of the best strategies. So I see this guy out there, he just left a corporate job, he's doing his thing, he's starting his own business, he's got 2 kids, I think he's like a single dad. I'm like, this guy's killing it. And I really loved what he was doing, and I didn't know what I was doing, so I figured I'm just gonna go to him. So we booked a 30-minute call, and we're having a great conversation. And he mentions to me though, he says, "The quality of this video isn't that good, right?" And I ask him, "What do you mean? Can you explain a little bit more?" And he tells me that everything that I do matters. Every video, every single graphic, every piece of text, it's not that you're supposed to obsess over it, but you have to care. And he said that your video, while people did compliment it, is that what you're going after, or are you trying to create something that's actually going to speak to the person you want to speak to in the situation you want to speak to them in? This blew my mind. I had never even thought about this. Fast forward, now we have personas, we have, a full funnel. We think about this in depth, in detail. But this was one of the first times that I got this piece of feedback, because I thought my shit was fucking hot, man. I thought my shit was hot. Thought it was hot. I was coming in there talking about podcasting. Nobody else was talking about it on LinkedIn. I thought I'm the man. I'm a young kid. I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna tell you guys about this, man. I'm gonna tell you about it. I had my camera set up. I got my webcam. I got my phone. I'm like, I got 2 video angles. What's up? Got some good comments, and then he comes in saying, this could definitely be better. And that was that reality check, right? I took his advice. After that, we created an entire podcast series about how to start your podcast. And it looked better. It looked better, right? It doesn't look like these videos look today, but it looked better. And this doesn't happen overnight, right? Like even this video you're watching or maybe listening to right now, this is a constant iteration. And Jack and I say this all the time. Our podcast coach, production manager, anyway, he's jack of all trades in this business. He's the man. We say this all the time. We're the experts, yet there's still iteration, right? Like there's still no right answer. And my friend that day, he wasn't giving me an answer. He was giving me feedback. And that is the key, right? There's only feedback. That's really what you want. And now here's the problem though. People confuse feedback with criticism, right? That's because we've been trained mentally to think, oh, you didn't get 100 on the test? Failure. You're not the captain of the team? Failure. Whatever that might be. It's a very American thing. It might not happen in other places, but it's a very American thing. And so when we receive feedback, we may take it as criticism because we're taking it personally, when in reality, it's not good or bad, it just is. So that's why that feedback was based on facts. That feedback that I got was based on an expert telling me that, hey, your shit's not as hot as you think. Because your ego is telling you your shit's hot. It's not actually hot in reality. The experts don't think it's hot, and those are the people that matter. The professionals, right? And sure, would a prospect scroll over that post and go, this video sucks, I'm never working with this guy? Probably not. But would you rather have something where people say, wow, instead of saying nothing, they say, wow, this is really good. This is really good. That's the response you want. You don't want no response, because that is a response. And I'll give you one more story. I had been listening to a podcast called Two Bobs. Great podcast. It's on the art of creative entrepreneurship. Listened to it so many times that I literally know the words that they use. Two Bobs, one guy, David C. Baker. He's a author, a trainer. He's a big business guy. Don't know his actual credentials. I was listening to the podcast and I had been following him because their podcast was such a great example of a co-hosted podcast. I digress. I commented on one of his posts. It was something probably snarky, like I may throw down, which if you go through my comments, you'll see. Sometimes shout out to Sassy Jason. Sometimes Sassy Sully comes out. And so I don't know what I put on the comment, but he said, oh wow, coming from the Gary V kid, huh? Or something like that. The context is, if you have been following me for a minute, at some point I had met Gary V a couple times and I had a screenshot of that on my LinkedIn backdrop that said like approved by Gary V or something, right? And in my mind, again, I'm thinking that shit's hot. That shit is hot, bro. Shit, people are gonna fuck with this. People gonna, yeah. Wasn't hot. This guy's a professional, man. What do the professionals think, right? And sure, I can say, oh, this is just one guy on LinkedIn, man. Screw his opinion. But in reality, he was right. It didn't matter, right? It didn't matter that I had shaken Gary V's hand or asked him a question. Yes, it does matter if I post it. It's a good post. People go, oh, wow, Sully, great job, man. Cool. You met Gary V. But it's not driving the needle. It's not moving the needle. It's not why somebody's gonna buy from me, right? But that signal, David sent me a signal. He gave me a piece of feedback. Now, he was being a little snarky too, but I get it. I'm me, Italian from New Jersey. This is how we talk. These couple moments of going, it's feedback. It's all about how you process it, right? My friend tells me that about the videos. Boom, I go make better videos. David tells me that about the backdrop. I go, I respect this guy. What? Just saying, not going to the immediate reaction of screw this guy, going to the reaction of if he was right, what would I do next? And this is not fluffy coaching shit. This is actually how you get better, is you change your automatic reaction to a question. If he was right, what would I do? Well, I would maybe change my backdrop to what it is today. If you hit on my LinkedIn, go look at it. I'm gonna tell you, everybody would think it's much better. So I hope you enjoyed this a little bit different episode today, a little bit unstructured, but the key here is feedback. And in that case, I would love some from you. So whether you're watching or listening, whether it's a clip on LinkedIn or it's the audio on Spotify or Apple, or it's the video on YouTube, please, 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 please leave me a comment or a DM. If you're on YouTube, the comment section's right there. Let me know what you thought. If you're listening or seeing this on a clip, leave me a comment in the comment section or shoot me a DM. Hey, I really enjoyed this story-based episode. I'd like to see more. Or you completely suck. Go back to talking about podcasts. Either way, I'm good. It's all feedback. Catch you next week.